It may be hard to believe, but believe it or not, there has actually been portrayals of the Hulk in cartoon form that has actually done a pretty excellent job on portraying the comic book version of the Hulk, despite the movies not really doing the best efforts for the Hulk. Recently, when it comes to the new movie with Professor Hulk not having no screen time, him taking selfies like Spider-Man, and him pretty much being non-existent in Avengers Infinity War. But how strong is this Hulk from the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Hero cartoon? For starters, the Avengers Earth's Mightiest cartoon is one of the best cartoons I've ever seen when it comes to Marvel animation ever. Even competing with classics like Justice League Unlimited for DC and Young Justice, or even better than some of them in your opinion. I would put it up there with even classics like Spider-Man the animated series from back in the 90s, and even classics like X-Men the animated series. It's just that freaking good. So if you haven't watched that show, I suggest you binge watch it. It should be on Disney XD service or Disney Plus service soon. But how strong is this version of the Hulk? Now, I will be the first to admit that this Hulk does not have that many inanimate object flashy feats like a lot of other versions of the Hulk would, like the comic book stuff. We have seen him actually destroy planets in comics. In this version, we haven't actually seen him do nothing extremely ridiculous, but he has some really good and interesting battle feats and a couple small statements here and there to confirm his level of power in this show based on consistency and lore. Was one of the few people that was actually able to bust through Kang the Conqueror's force field, something that even characters like Iron Man couldn't do and the other Avengers that were a tier below him couldn't do. This same energy shield from Kang the Conqueror was able to endure a volley of missiles like this. His technology is far beyond normal technology standards and things like that. Not even Iron Man's energy blast could do anything to it, and it was the Uni Beam, one of his most powerful attacks. One of the few Avengers actually able to overpower Graviton's gravitational power, able to pretty much make the gravity on the Hulk. God, how knows heavy it was, but he was still able to keep powering through. Graviton even comments on and talk about nothing is that powerful and things like that. One of the few characters that's actually able to do something like this, considering characters like Thor in this universe couldn't even do this thing. Graviton is even surprised at it by saying nothing is that powerful. He controls gravity itself. He is just complete in awe that he continues to keep walking and things like that. The look on Graviton's face is priceless. Completely destroys tanks with relative ease and bats it away like it's just a feather. Shown to be able to catch shield aircrafts like nothing. This is lightweight for Hulk, something probably Spider-Man can even do. Just something to look at and look and see how cool it is. Multiple barbarians was trying to tag team on the Hulk, and the Hulk pretty much overpowered all of them at the same time with relative ease. He's able to do stuff like casually rips trees out of their roots. This is light work. Able to snap them in half with relative ease. And he can casually knock trees down like they're nothing, just swatting them like flies. A giant wolf, a mythological wolf at that, got him overpowered. He's able to overpower the jaws. Able to bust out of an ice arrow from Hawkeye. Was able to lift and flip over the giant man with relative ease. In this particular instance, giant man looking like he about a few stories high. Was able to crush and shatter Groot's arm in this universe. Michael Korvack's shield was able to take a blast from all of these characters at the same time like this. Even Miss Marvel, right? All of these characters. Wow, impressive. But then when the Hulk comes, he comes and breaks it. After all of those heroes can do nothing to it, but in the same episode, the Hulk can actually get through it. Marvel is actually one of those characters that was trying to do it in this episode as well. Was pretty much able to battlefield remove Executioner. He went flying for like a very long trip. Was able to destroy multiple Dark Elves with one punch. Like literally the aerial effect was ridiculous that it just shattered all of them, even though he only punched in one direction. Was able to actually knock out Giant Man with one punch. The raw power, showing that size means nothing. Boom. Can lift up these 100-ton crates like it's nothing. These crates usually weigh around the hundreds of tons. They are really solid and thick steel. Was able to pretty much obliterate all the piece of body of Groot in this universe with a one single thunderclap. Was able to hit the ground so hard it was able to affect the ground beneath them, causing a mini earthquake, having the rocks rise up off the ground. Something that classic Hulk would always do in comic books. One of his signature moves. One of the Heralds of Galactus shoots fireballs at the Hulk and they seem to not be doing nothing. Hulk just like blocking and reacting to him as well. Also a combat speed feat. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Able to survive atmosphere re-entry, showing his level of durability to heat is nothing and lightweight the Hulk. A very good portrayal of the Hulk in this cartoon. He's able to take electricity, something that comic Hulk should be able to do. This show portrayed this part accurately as well. Was able to take an attack from Ronan with the universal weapon and is okay with it not being knocked out, showing another level of durability. A similar attack like this was able to KO a powerhouse character like Miss Marvel. This same attack pretty much knocked her out, but it didn't knock Hulk out. Straight up able to actually punch rockets. This is a combat speed, durability, and reaction time feat. Takes a huge missile and pretty much comes out fine afterwards. Gets hit head on with the missile. Like, look how big it is. This is like bigger than Hulk. And he was fine afterwards, pretty much. Pretty much is able to run through a blast from Ultron while the same Ultron was like destroying all the other heroes before the Hulk even arrived and ripping them apart in the process. Miss Marvel's energy beams seem to bounce off the Hulk's durability and chest. Helping Thor out on one of his missions, he was actually able to knock out pretty much 3 frost giants with multiple easy hits. It looked like they one-shot at each and every one of them. He's able to take on attacks from multiple Avengers at the same time. They seem to not be able to do nothing much to him other than push him back a couple feet. One of the Heralds of Galactus, while weakened, was able to get his flames extinguished with the Hulk during a thunderclap. This is during the last episode of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes show anyway. Able to throw this massive device. Look how big it is. He's able to throw this massive thing right here. Not only is picking it up a feat, but nothing extreme insane, but the fact he's able to pick it up and then actually able to throw it into space. Picking it up is one thing, but throwing this all the way into space shows the level of power. It's just like, wow, that was just light work. Uses crates as weapons. Yeah, it is true that this Hulk does not have the most flashy feats when it comes to cartoons, so I tried to make it as most entertaining as I could, finding every little small feat here and there or some kind of semi-big feat here and there. But there is something to be noted in this show. There's a couple statements in the show that makes you think that these Hulks are strong. This Hulk is stronger, or these Avengers are stronger in this universe than a lot of people may think. Like, we haven't seen nobody in this universe bust a planet or anything, but it is implied there possibly could be planet busters in this series for the simple fact that during the fight with Graviton, Iron Man analyzed Graviton's power, and the readings he said he was being put out was the readings of a black hole.
Warning, gravitational field around the target is in flux. Extreme caution advised.
The energy he's putting out? The old comparison is a black hole.
What are Graviton's upper limits?
Studied him for years, and as far as we could tell, he doesn't have any.
Now, I would have thought that was an exaggeration, but due to the fact that these characters are based on their comic book counterparts who have black hole level feats, this statement does not seem like an exaggeration. Since what is the goal after all to make a live action show or a TV show or anything related to the source material? The goal is to try to get the power levels and consistencies on the level of the comic book or source material, right? So why would the comic book sales be black hole level? And the show stated that they stated that the readings of Graviton was similar to a black hole. Wouldn't that mean that they could possibly black hole level in the show? If this isn't enough proof for you, this Hulk also stated that he could survive a planetary explosion right here.
I think I'm sitting on the bomb.
Shut down the negabomb.
We have to evacuate.
The blast radius is the entire planet, Wasp.
Then I'll survive. Then I'll survive.
They stated that the blast radius was the entire planet. Evacuation wasn't an option. Just when you think that's an exaggeration, you see Thor go up there and throw the blast that's supposedly the bomb, and it makes an explosion this big. Further implying that was not an exaggeration, and Hulk believed that he could survive. Like his comic book counterpart, he could have definitely survived the planetary explosion. So this does not seem like that far-fetched considering what his comic book self could do. And this show, what is the show trying to do? Portray his comic book self, Hulk, right? So there's a good chance that this Hulk is Planet Buster level or black hole level even possibly, but since the show ended so quickly, it's easy to lowball them to say they're continental or country level at best, because that's the biggest we've seen them do when it comes to, attack power and things like that other than the planetary statement. But I would say highballing it, absolute highballing it shows a possibility they could be black hole level, but then lowballing it, country level at the absolute minimum, kind of similar lowballing. I would say you can bust a continent. The safe level, I would say Hulk and Thor are in this show, it would be the planet level. Like, I think they will have enough attack potency to bust the Earth based on the statements of lore and the fact that they're based off the comic book counterpart of these characters. But I could be just an idiot, and I could be a retard, and I could just be a Hulk wanker or whatever. But what do you guys think? Does that seem fair? Do you think this version of Hulk could possibly be what? Continental, country level when it comes to attack power? What do you think his maximum he can lift in this show? Do you think he's similar to his comic book self with the black hole statement? Do you think this Hulk is actually black hole level, like that statement with Iron Man said? Or do you think that was just an exaggeration? Do you think they're planet level because of that bomb Hulk said he could survive was enough to destroy the planet? And it was a fact pretty much, and you see the explosion in the episode just to prove that it wasn't an exaggeration. But what do you guys think? I could be crazy. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. Let's discuss this below. And we can also discuss how great this show is together too.